Hi, it's an amazing weekend of football, and on this show, Scorecard, we review the scores to you. I am Bernard Abekochu. Today, I can't say a special guest. He's a man known on this screen, but he decides to return in a great fashion. And we're going to talk about Accra as a folk, the President's Cup. There's also an opportunity for us to talk about the FIFA Club World Cup and our Queen's Eye in action. We'll go for this quick commercial break here on Channel 1 TV. Scorecard is the name of the show. When we come back into the studios, I'll be introducing you to my guest. Welcome you to Scorecard on Channel 1 TV. I am Bernard Abekochu. As I indicated to you, got two gentlemen here with me in the studios. First off, Dennis Nyaku. Dennis, I can't skip not introducing you, if you want. Got a lot of words in my mind now.
Bernard! It's a long time I heard that Bernard. It's refreshing to hear.
Myself, it's good to see you.
Yeah, it's good to see you.
It's been a minute.
Yeah,
so
it's been long, yeah.
Everything crisp?
It's been here. Everything crisp, yeah. It's been long, you know. It's been a long time being here. Being in the studio alone feels like it's been ages, but it's good to be here.
Yeah, we miss your analysis.
Yeah, good to see you. Good to be back to this environment and see you guys.
We'll get to talk about your Accra as a folk short.
I wish we were going to talk about something else, but then we can't go past it, yeah?
Yeah, of course. Manuel Angelo Kwachi, Charlie. Angelo. I like that Angelo.
How are you?
I'm a miracle. You good?
I'm good.
That's solid. It was also nice to have you already. But let's get the show started, right off with that game we witnessed at the Accra Sports Stadium. It was Accra Hearts of Folk playing Kumasi Asante Kotoko in honor of the sitting president, organized by the Ghana League Club Association. Let's watch this. So that's Accra Hearts of Folk versus Kumasi Asante Kotoko in the President's Cup. Kotoko winning by 2-1. Strangely, they've always made that statement that Accra is their home. The Accra Sports Stadium is the home of Kumasi Asante Kotoko. So anytime Kotoko is traveling from Kumasi to Accra, they know it's a done deal. They showed that. It's class. In the first half, Accra's folk dominated. Then in the second half, it was Kotoko's. Good to see. Dennis, let me begin with you. Okay. Good to see two big brains on the bench of two glamorous football clubs in the country. Exhibits, this kind of, when I say mental battle, or if you want tactical, jinx to produce what we saw on the pitch. Did you love the game?
Yes, if you ask me if I loved the game, yes, I loved the game, but I was disappointed, of course, because of where my allegiance lies. Because watching House of Folk and watching the attendance, the number of people who came to the stadium, and seeing how the game went, I expected more from House of Folk. And I was even more impressed when I saw the first half because I realized that they had, they had control of the game in the first half, and in that first half, I think they should have scored more than one goal. I expected Haas to make it count. And the thing about football is when you are in control of the game, you expect to make it count and put the ball away, but that's something they couldn't do. I was a bit disappointed also because, it was Didi Draman's first game, I guess, and I was expecting much more from the team. There's this thing about having a new coach and having this new coach syndrome and the passion and the strive to win the game, which I saw in the first half. I didn't see it in the second half. Kotoko themselves, came in, to win. And the thing about this cup is that it's more for bragging rights. And when you come into a game where the atmosphere is this intense, and you see the stadium, you see the fans that are there, because comparatively, if you compare the attendance to what we saw in the last Premier League game, you realize that this match had so much euphoria, and it had better atmosphere, the climate was great, and I expected House to capitalize, especially when they're playing at Accra. Yeah, there's this notion that whenever the game is in Accra, Kumasi, Kotoko seems to be the favorite. And it's something I always want to debunk because I feel that there have been, I think most of the games in Accra have ended in draws. That's what maybe if I have to check the stats, but I didn't expect this to play in the minds of House of Folk. I expected them to win. And even watching the penalty, that penalty where House were down by 2-1, and then they had a penalty to score, which wasn't part of the highlights. But then they squandered the penalty, as a matter of fact. And that is something that was also went against the team. Because when you play against Kotoko, you have to make that. It's a game of very small margins. So when you get an opportunity, you have to make it count. And if you see even the approach to play the penalty, it disappointed me because I've always maintained that there's no penalties. You can always miss. But I feel that you have to make the goalkeeper work. And you can always play a penalty with the intention to score, but you have to put in that effort to see that you actually want to put the ball in there. And whenever I see players take that casual approach to play penalties, I expect that when you decide to take that approach, then you should score.
Yeah.
You understand? So
Yeah.
if there's a case where you played a good penalty, but it was saved by the goalkeeper, it's fine. It's normal to miss a penalty, but you have to make the goalkeeper work. And when I saw the casual nature of that penalty, I was very disappointed, because in a game like this, you have to understand that the fans' feelings are at stake, and you have to take your opportunities. So yeah, it's good. It's good for Kotoko that they won, but I'm disappointed from the Hearts' point of view.
Just on the penalty bit, I feel sometimes Jorginho had that same thing. I think Fernandes too. The technique that they
Bruno,
use for the penalty, when they miss it, they look a little silly. It looks like they were trying something that didn't work out. But I think when they're able to, when it goes off right, I think it's a technique. I think it comes out like visually, it looks good, and it has the effect of scoring. So I think it just depends on the result. But yeah, maybe sometimes you can also go for power, go down the middle, and then the keeper makes the save too. So I think it depends on how you, on whether the end result almost determines whether it's effective
you
or
said
not.
that if you take that approach and you miss, you look more silly. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So I just feel that everybody has the way of taking the penalties, but I feel that sometimes the moment you go for that kind of technique and you want to go for that's something you believe in, then you have to make sure that you make it count.
So yeah, you have to make sure it's a masterclass,
Yeah.
But you know, there was a goal that was scored that was ruled for offside by Stephen Appiah Asari. A goal that was scored was ruled as offside. I have some few comments here. People feel officiating didn't go as expected. Do you guys see anything?
I mean, not necessarily. I mean, from what I saw, everything was okay, and they were given a penalty. So if the officials were against them, it would be like, I'd be surprised if they still gave them a penalty. I don't think there was any bias. Obviously, it's a football match. When things don't go your way, sometimes you can look at it and say, oh, maybe if this decision had gone this way, or if this decision had gone this way. But from what I saw, it was a good game. I was intense. There was a lot of passion. There was a lot of, between both teams. I think when they had the ball, I think they both tried to go at each other, and it's positive. Like you said, compare that to the league game. Obviously, a final is a final. Yeah. Once you're in a final, you're trying to win the final, and maybe that's what came through at the end. And for Karim Zito, just to come on to that, I think it's his second trophy within about a month. I think that's positive, especially when you come in for someone like Prosper Nate-Ogum, who also has he has achieved things there. So to come in to win 2 trophies and to come in with that mindset, I heard him speaking. This is the second time he said he's won the President's Cup with Kotoko against House of Oak. So to come in with that mindset, to come in with that, with the pedigree, you get me? Because he's also coming from a team where he has to now get a group of players to listen to what he has to say. But once you come in and you're able to prove to them that if you follow my way, you win trophies, I think that's a good statement for him. So and for Kotoko in general, from where they are going.
So to shift the Dr. Prosper Nate-Ogum cone and put the Karim Zito there tactically was a right
He's
decision.
an interim coach though, so who knows what the future holds for him. But for even an interim, two trophies. That's what I'm saying. So 2 trophies to come in a short space of time and to have that much of an impact in the way they play. And there was even talk of feud between Amwa and Opoku, but then I think for the winning goal, which was also missed, you saw that the two of them need to assist each other, and now they all seem to be working together, to be working hard. He seems to have a very disciplined approach to the way he approaches his game with the team, and it seems to be working for them.
I seem to want to ask you the same question. The Abubakar Ouattara out, an experienced Didi Dramani in. It didn't work for the Phobians in the President's Cup. Does it put pressure on the club now?
No, I don't think it does, because for me, when it comes to these Hearts Kotoko games, I think it's sometimes more beyond the tactical dispensation. All right, the coaches come in wanting to win. They map up their strategies, but it's the thing about this derby games. I feel it's more of the team that is more willing and has the more hunger and take his opportunities. I understand the tactical perspective of it, but the matches are so close that it has to go your way. And you just mentioned the penalties. The penalty that happened. If Hearts had taken that penalty, it could have been a drawn game. So I think when I watch the game and I see how Hearts play, I think I don't want to blame Didi Draman too much. I feel that they had a decent game. They just couldn't capitalize on their opportunities, and that is what actually went against that game. Because I think this game should have ended in a draw from what I watched. But unluckily for her, so I just think they didn't take their chances, and that's how come they lost. But I don't expect this to put pressure on Didi Drama. It's just early days yet. I think he'll be judged more on the subsequent games. But I also understand that these derby games can actually be can be very funny because you know you don't want to lose this and lose the subsequent ones. So the moment he has lost this game, I'm sure that the next derby against Kotoko, he'll be under pressure.
Premier League
He'll be under pressure to win.
For next season,
of course, to win that game.
Just to comment on that point, same thing. Obviously, it doesn't matter if you lose one, but then once you lost two, once you haven't won in three, then it starts becoming a pattern. And that's a bit worrying for him. But and same thing too. So once he's coming for Abubakar Ouattara, now you are being compared against someone who was just there. While they didn't win the league, I think they were just 4 points off the top. They weren't that far off. So I think people are always going to start comparing him with. And even though Ouattara didn't do well, now people are going to expect him to do much better. Or at least they won't take okay or just par. They want something that's better than what they had already. So it's not pressure. It's just the first game. I'm glad I hope he was able to try out some different things.
From what you saw in that game, do you see improvement? The coach already established that, look, this period should be a rest period for the guys. Then they come in later, but they get to start preseason early. You feel what you saw, you know, per distribution of passes?
I mean, if it was based on the first half, I think they'd be excited. I think they'd be disappointed with the mental aspect of it, given how they conceded 2 goals in about 2 minutes. I don't think for any team that plays at a high level, I don't think you should be those collapse, because it's a mental fragility thing. Because once you concede a goal, everyone is trying to get his teammate to, okay, let's focus. So immediately concede a goal again. After that, I'd be worried. But beyond that, like I said, it's his first game. If he's able to just learn some 1 or 2 things about his team and use that forward, it should actually be a benefit for him in the future. Maybe when he faces Kotoko again, now he knows about 1 or 2 things that he has noticed and he has realized, and he can apply that in the next game.
All right, let me pick some few messages that we have. So the numbers will be on your screens. Try and send your messages through that. We're reading all of that on our WhatsApp console right for you here in the studio. It says, good evening. In fact, some Ghanaian referees pad here. Hey, we can't offside them take against the player, no? This be Eric Pepper. You miss the English with the PG Charlie. This is scholar. This is not football made in Ghana, but I appreciate you. Good evening. I'm watching you live from Teshi Demo. I thank you for watching as well. It says hashtag scorecard. The guy that's played the right fullback for Hearts played against Hearts rather. On top of that, he missed the spot kick as well. He should have been substituted earlier. He was just wasteful. Jimmy Jake from Dansoman. Someone says, good evening to you, Bernard and the team. The President's Cup was good entertainment for us, the neutrals. It had it all, the atmosphere, tactics, error, controversial offside calls, missed penalties, comebacks, etc. I just hope the Garca top 4 gains same traction. Rest in peace, Diego Jota. Speedy recovery to Jamal Musiala. That's nice. Yeah, football man. This is from Aoshi. This one says, phobia, goal was not offside. All right, so we appreciate your comments. Keep them coming on the show, Scorecard on Channel 1 TV. We can advance from the Hearts Kotoko argument, right? And move into other issues. Let's now talk about our Black Queens. The Black Queens, interestingly, are in Morocco. They will be playing against the defending champion. They've had a lot of time to train and get their arsenals on. Now, Nigeria beats Ghana in the friendlies by a number of goals. Nigeria plays its first game against a football country, beats them by 2 goals.
3 goals.
3 actually.
3 goals, yeah.
3 goals actually. Ghana plays against South Africa. They are under lots of pressure. In the course of the week, we spoke to a South African journalist who explains that players would have to revolt for salaries and certain bonuses and what have you. Do we have a good chance against South Africa?
It's a difficult one. It's hard for me to predict that game. It's a game that will be close, but if you want to look at history and how this game how it's been in the past few years, you may just try to tilt in the favor of South Africa, even though we won the last clash with them, which was I think last a few years ago. So it's a difficult one. I'm saying that because of the preparations and how we've moved from Nora to Lars.
Kim Lars.
Yeah, Kim Lars, and how the results have been, because it was a slow start, initially losing consecutive games, and I think we managed to get some few wins and won the last friendly game. So it's going to be a difficult tournament for us. We missed the last edition, and coming into this game, I know that the Queens are expecting to make an impact. For me personally, I don't expect them to win the tournament. As much as I expect them to go very far, it's going to be a difficult one because you can't just know what to expect. I think the team has that. It's basically the same team from Nora, but there have been a few changes. There's been change in management, and it's basically the same old personnel. But going to the tournament where Nigeria is still a difficult country to play against. The South Africans themselves have been very sleepy for us in the past. I think the last 5 times we met, we've won just one of it. So it's going to be a difficult game. Even though I expect Ghana to put out a good show, the best I think from this game for us might be a draw.
Wow.
Yeah.
Think same?
The Nigeria game was a little worrying for me. That's the thing. I'm worried that maybe it's
Nigeria against Tunisia. Or
no.
Nigeria
When we played Ghana, I'm worried that it's possible that we get to a level that we're much better than everyone else, but we're not yet at the top level. So there are a few teams that are above us who, when we meet them, we are not able to beat them. And Nigeria is definitely one of them. And South Africa being the defending champions, slightly worrying for me as we face them. But like you said, with all the trouble with the team and the bonuses and with their money not being paid to them, that type of thing can cause a lot of commotion within the squad. Whether Ghana is in the best place to take advantage of that I'm not certain. But we will have a good. I think we can. I think we'll have a good competition. I think we'll go as far as we can. And when we meet the big teams, that's when we need to prove that we're actually at the next level. Because we're a good footballing team. It's just about Doris isn't good for Doris Woodward isn't good for.
Doris Prisla as well.
Really, a lot of them are in really, really good form. So I think when we meet the big teams, it's about showing that we're at that level. We're at that level, and we can compete with them.
I think that has been a problem. We've managed to maneuver these games, these tournaments, but sometimes you get to the crunch, we've lost very key finals in the semi-finals, but sometimes just those little things, the mentality, whether you really want to go over the line, and those are the problems sometimes, because it's not about the fact that we don't know how to really play these games. We do play these games, but when it matters most, I think sometimes the Black Queens just lack something there.
Great. Good evening, guys. Please, I'm watching you now, but I want to know where Christopher Nimley is. I can say that for now, but he's certainly not on set. My name is Anthony from Achimota, more Chelsea news. You get to know when we get into the FIFA Club World Cup. Hi, can you explain why Ghana needs to just win our next 2 games to qualify for the World Cup when we are only 3 points ahead of Comoros? I think you're talking about the men's side, the Black Stars proper. That's from Siemens. We'll get to talk about that later on. Kotoko are having quality players than Accra had to folk. Well, maybe that's what you saw. Good evening, Bernard. No matter what they do, Kotoko will always beat Accra had to folk. Watching you live from Sefi Juaboso. I am Kweku Abuaji. Good evening. Liverpool won the league. Still, they have finished their new signings, but my own Manchester on 16th in the Premier League, still struggling to do proper signings. Why are we wasting over 60 million pounds on Mbeumo, while this money can get us quality from Spain and Portugal? United is not a serious football club. That's from Fred inside Sunyani. Good evening, sir. Please, ask for Heart to Folk anywhere we meet them, in marketplaces, farms, or veranda, or anywhere, we are going to beat them. The bragging right is on. I picked the last 2. It says, had there been a pick and choose syndrome, no assistant referee on earth would flag Peter offside. If a player sends a ball past his opponent and pick the ball, how on earth could that be an offside? That was a shock of my life, not the Hearts offside goal. Okay. The coach should take full responsibility for Accra Folks laws. Why should you substitute your best defender, Osei Sibe? 2, when we have a penalty, Kunedu Yadom was ready mentally to take it, but he was asked to give it to the guy who squandered it. Phobia from Soul Trader Takwa. Good evening. I'm watching you live from Itiwa Mim, Kumasi, Kotoko all the way. That's great as well. Let's go for this quick break. When we return back in studio here on Scorecard on Channel 1 TV, there's a lot more to talk about. We'll catch you soon. I am Bernard Abeko Ochre. I've got Angelo Kwachi with me here in the studios and my man Dennis Nyako as well. Let's get into the FIFA Club World Cup. Interestingly, the last movie I watched that contained a guy with the name Hercules, it was fantastic. He was the hero. There was another hero in that game, Fluminense up against Al Hilal. Well, Fluminense beat Hilal by 2-1, and it was that guy, Hercules. Watch this. Now tell me if you don't love Hercules. Do you love him? I know you do. I'll be expecting your message. He did it in a great fashion.
Yeah.
Like a Chicharito in a penalty box. He finds the ball in his
that was a crisp finish. Yeah, great finish. But if you look at the whole game, it was a great game to watch. To be honest, I thought Al Hilal after beating Man City would have gone past Fluminense, but what Fluminense had was a very compact team that they knew how to defend. They found the holes behind Koulibaly and co. If you watch the first goal that Hilal conceded, it was a mistake from Cancelo. Yeah. And I know people will be pointing to whether he was in the right frame of mind for that game and whether the Portuguese guys were actually in the right frames of mind. But I think beyond that mistake, he was decent. So it was a difficult way to lose because I felt that after beating City, they were going to go further. But Fluminense they just came with a great plan, played very well, and look at the finish. If you look at the 2 goals that they scored, great. Even the first one, you see the 10 and you see how the ball was finished. So it tells you that it's a team that knows how to caress the ball in terms of when you have the ball and all of that. So great win for Fluminense, but I think Hilal did great in this tournament. I think that people didn't expect them to go that far, but then the expectations also went beyond when they went past Manchester City. So credit to Fluminense for how they were able to defend and also go past Hilal.
What's your highlight of that game? Hercules?
Thiago Silva and Diego. So I think he's about 40 now.
Yeah,
he's 40 years old, and he looks as good as he was when he played for AC Milan and Scudetto. And their goalkeeper is about 44 years old, which is incredible.
Experience,
And generally, and I'm happy that Fluminense were able to. There was a real excitement about the South American teams when they started the tournament. So I'm glad that they've also been able to go further, get to the semi-finals. It's a tough game that they have, but I think they have the support, they have the ambition, they have the passion. I think they can go forward in the competition.
He speaks about something important, but it was still cold in America. Cole Palmer was doing his trick. Let's catch that glimpse of Palmeiras up against Chelsea. Chelsea winning by 2-1, booking a date with Fluminense. But first, watch this. So if you do the maths, you watch Chelsea, you watch the Fluminense, you do the maths, they'll be meeting. What's the result? You have the result? Guys, do you have the result?
I
think Chelsea are doing something.
No, Chelsea are doing well. But I mean, when we spoke on radio, I think I made the same point that they were in the much easier side of the draw, which is just because if you look at the teams Real Madrid have had to go through, and if you look at the teams PSG have had to go through.
But you are presented with what you
are fair. But they played Benfica and Palmeiras, which is both good teams. These are the best teams in the world. I'm not here to discredit anything Chelsea has done.
Yeah.
But making it to the semi-finals, I would say that they were in the better side of the draw, and they made the best of their luck. They've gone through, they beat the teams that they had to beat. Even the goal that they took to build Palmeiras was the deflection was a bit fortunate. But you have to, again. But this is a chance for Maresca to win another trophy.
Is he winning this?
No, I mean I think the winner comes from the other side of the draw. I think Real Madrid, PSG. I think whoever is able to come through that. I think we argue that maybe they might be tired because of the teams that they've had to go through. But I think the winner is on the other side of the draw. And like I said, if PSG were not in good form, I'd back Chelsea that maybe but PSG look as good as they win all tournaments. They haven't conceded a goal all tournaments. PSG probably go on to win it. But between Chelsea and Palmeiras, between Chelsea and Fluminense, I think Chelsea get through to the final.
It's interesting to know what Chelsea are doing. Yeah. For me, I'm of the opinion that they are gathering the best young talents, across. Yeah. I see Liam Delap. I feel he's fantastic. I feel with the crop of players that exist, Chelsea currently, they are awesome to watch. You know, with a bit earlier on we were discussing on radio the bit of experience that they would need in the squad. But this is a good squad, isn't it?
It is a good squad, and I agree purely with you. I think they have great talents at their disposal, but I still don't believe they can win the league title, the English Premier League with this team. That's on a different ball game together. But I have my reasons. Because as good as they are, they still lack a few things. I think in terms of leadership at the back, I still don't see it yet. I still feel that they need one or two more experienced players in there to be able to make an impact in the league. But going back to this game, I felt that they did quite well because Palmeiras was a tough side. You know, you watch the first half and how difficult they were. The thing about Palmeiras is that they are very energetic. They move around very well. They know how to pass the ball, and you have to be, work so hard if you want to go past a team like that. You watch Estavio and how well he played in that game. You realize that yes, Chelsea should be convinced that they've bought a very good player, and the fact that
don't they already have too many wingers?
No, they
because they bought a front three just this transfer window. They bought a front three.
And that is my problem. That's what I mentioned earlier.
It's a problem.
So no,
I feel if you have a lot of good talent.
Let him come in.
So you see, my issue. I know where it's coming from. That is the reason why I made the earlier point that I don't think this Chelsea team, as of now, can win the English Premier League.
Why?
Why? Because they have a lot of similar players in a particular. When you watch their front line, you see a lot of similar players. One.
But that's what Pep did.
I'm not done. And you realize that they do have a very young players, but I still don't think they have that experienced player up front, which is different from what they already have. Because if you tell me, if you watch, the lack seems to be a bit. He should be slightly because he occupies the defenders. Because he looks a bit different from Pedro and Kunku and the other ones. But what the lab also doesn't have is that experience to be in a big team. Nobody can convince me that the lab will lead the line for Chelsea throughout the season and be the main striker next season. I don't think he can lead Chelsea to a title in the Premiership. That is a fact.
But
so as good as the lab is, he's a good player. He still has a lot to improve and all of that. I just feel that when you ask, I just feel that this Chelsea team doesn't have the experience to win the league title. That is my opinion. I don't think they've got that.
I mean, when we spoke, I think Sterling was their oldest player, and even Sterling's not a player that I think of as being very old. At 30 years old. I'm not even sure if he plays this season. And after him was Chilwell, then other players who are 27. There's not enough experience within this team. Obviously, like I said, once they start winning trophies, they won the Conference League. If they win this as well, and they start getting the experience of winning trophies, maybe I can say that experience would be overrated. The other experience that they would need from outside would be overrated because now they've done it themselves. But at the moment, looking at them and looking at the type of performances that they put up and how inconsistent they can be sometimes, I still think that the squad is slightly too young to be consistently competing at the top level of European football.
To be fair, the transfer window is still open. It's not closed yet. So maybe a few things could still change.
They signed a lot of players. You can't spend over $1 billion and still not have a good enough squad to compete for titles.
Actually, and that is my point. Because Chelsea has spent so much money. And I feel that if you watch the team,
there's
so much
financial fair play.
A lot of that.
Their run in the Club World Cup should help them a lot because they generated a lot of revenue. And I think that's the thing other clubs should start looking at. But I don't know.
I'm tempted to pick a few messages. I'll come back into the discussion. This one says, please, I want to know, is Manchester United, the owners of that club, are they lazy to buy players? No, I cannot answer. Maybe guys are.
I mean, they signed Diego Leon. I don't know if they are not impressed.
Oh, that's in the pipeline already. I mean,
impressed with the
that's been in the pipeline for a minute. But this message is for you. Please ask Mano to slow down on his subs. People are feeling you are getting to people too much. Like, it's fine. Like, it's fair. Like, calm down small.
I get that.
Can you educate us more on the Thomas Partey case? Okay, maybe briefly, we'll get to talk about it. Hello, good evening. My name is Kojo from Labuno. Manchester United keeps making our lives miserable. Everything about them is just disgusting and sickening. Till I see something serious from them, I cease to be associated with that football club. That's Kojo from Bono. Thought he didn't add his name. Can't we just change the way we do things? The President's Cup could be linked to the Premier League. Perhaps the top 4 or top 8 teams on the table could enter into a playoff to determine the finalist for the title. This would bring extra competition to the league, as clubs would aim to finish in the top 4 or 8 to qualify for the President's Cup. That way, teams won't give up simply because they can't win the league title. Why must it always be Hearts of Oak and Kotoko? Zimbo Salasi. Zimbo, let me pause and explain something a bit. The President's Cup and clubs that get to play is at the prerogative of the sitting president. He decides that I want this club and that club to play, because it's just to honor the president, the sitting president. So that format, GACA already, have that. They have the GACA. Sometimes they go top 4, sometimes they go top 8, and what have you. The last time I spoke with the GACA chairman, he said he wants to do top 4. So that is also in the pipeline. That also serves as preparatory stuff for like a sort of a pre-seasonal tournament for the clubs before they get into the league. So the format is, is for the president. I just want 2 clubs to play. I don't need. And also,
and I think they also bring the numbers basically. So
say again.
They bring the numbers to the
stadium. Yeah. Let me pick a few messages, Manuel. Hello, good evening. My name is Dr. Osei from Fadama. Kotoko and Hearts have a long way to go. They need to play good football for the fans to be happy. Fear enough, Kotoko won. I think we want to say sadly enough, Kotoko won. That's fair. Okay, so when you say fair enough, Kotoko won. That one also sits better. The Hearts goal was offside. Please, you guys should watch the highlights.
No, my insistence is not on whether the goal was onside or offside. Is the making the implication that there's a bias against your team based on a decision that was got wrong. That's what I think is slightly unfair. And I think it's something we rush too far too much within the country. If the referee makes a decision or he gets something wrong or there's miscommunication, and then
I also think I think this referee thing is also coming from the previous game that happened. There was the FA Cup final where we saw
the FA Cup final
that horrible
at the
decision
University of Ghana Stadium.
And so I think it's still in the minds of viewers because that was a terrible decision. And watching
that is fair. If that is offside,
so
that is Kotoko benefiting from 2 decisions.
Exactly. So they feel like basically these are in the minds of people and they come into.
I would like to believe that our officials are unbiased, and when they make a decision, sometimes things go wrong when they are trying to make their decision. But it's not necessarily because of bias towards one team or another.
The last time I spoke with referee GK Mino, a retired referee, he said that look, he feels the referees they are at 80%. And
they are not 80%. That is not true.
Okay, let me get into
let me clarify.
Let me get into two messages. I'll come back. I need to go for a break, so I'll come back for you to
you have to
do that for me. Look, I'm going to say good evening. Sir Aristo from Seri Bekwai. Congratulations to Kotoko for lifting the trophy. We still have a long way to go in officiating. Messi is the goat of football. Greetings to the aristocrat family at Seri Bekwai. Hi, I'm Milton Mouse. Please let your panelists know that we have the best fullbacks and PSG are also young. So please stop saying Chelsea are too young. We spoke about this on radio.
But they have
Karius Kelly has won the league title.
They have Marquinhos.
Karius Kelly has won the league title at Napoli.
It's right. We can delve into all of that. Let's go for this quick break. This is Scorecard on Channel 1 TV, your favorite sports content on the weekends. Let's go for a quick commercial break. When we return, there's more. On Channel 1 TV, I am Bernard Abeko, watching Dennis Nyakoya with me in the studios and Angelo Kwache as well. Let's do the back-to-back. Let's watch a back-to-back clip of PSG beating Bayern Munich and Real Madrid beating Borussia Dortmund. On return in studio, we'll analyze that as well. Look, thank you for staying with us and watching those videos. But I've watched just 3 minutes. I don't know how I'm massaging the time back. I mean, you put it two games together. Now pick some few messages.
I again, not to seem like I'm picking on Chelsea, but I saw a lot of quality in those last 2 highlights. I've been very impressed with both PSG and Real Madrid. Real Madrid getting used to how they play under Xabi Alonso, and PSG just continuing from what they did in the Club World Cup. Sorry, in the Champions League. PSG facing Real Madrid. Real Madrid are a big team. I can't just say PSG are the favourites. I'd back PSG to win it, but just based on the history of Real Madrid, whether it's in this competition or in the Champions League or in big competitions, I can't say for certain. But for me, the winner is coming from from the winner of that game.
That's a point. No, coding.
Yeah, for me, two great games. Yeah, we had, like you said, quality through and through. We saw great goals. Great. I don't know. We couldn't watch the last Courtois save. You know, he made a save in that game.
Yeah.
Quality, top class. But there's just one thing to point out. It's if you watch the Real Madrid Dortmund game, you realize that in that first 30 minutes, it gives you an idea of what exactly Alonso wants to do with the team. You watch that 30 minutes and you see that this is like watching Leverkusen a few times, because the press, the way they were passing the ball around, typical Xabi Alonso style. And there are a few players that I can see that have gotten in tune and are playing much better than they used to. You watch Frank Garcia, you watch Tchouameni, you watch Ada Güler. You can see that these are players that are reborn under Alonso. So it's going to be a great game to view when Real Madrid takes on PSG. A difficult game, like he said. I think PSG, for how they've played and how they've grown nowadays, you know, you understand that they become more experienced. In that Bayern match, what they had was that even in moments where they were not playing well, they still had the mentality to stay in the game, and that is how big they have become as a team. So that Real Madrid press will be the biggest in the competition. If there's any club that can stop PSG, it is Real Madrid. And if PSG are able to go beyond this hurdle, they will actually lift this cup.
Let me pick some few messages, before we check out of the studio, if that's possible. It says, good evening to you guys. Interesting as always. Greetings to Dennis from Simply. Know him?
Was it Simply what?
That's what he said.
I think Simplicity or something?
Maybe. Maybe Simply or
I
something.
think I know him. Yeah.
Okay. Regarding the Chelsea issue, I think many people still don't understand how it's going. You just end up saying they are not ready to win titles. I don't think that's fair. Okay, good evening, guys. For about 6 years now, Manchester United have repeated the same mistakes of being, of waiting till the last minute before they sign players, and they can't even offload players too. Waiting crowds. Michael Dawson from Dansuman. Hartford have a long way to go. How can you get a penalty and miss it at that crucial moment? And the heartbreak is that the ref take that goal as offside. So Ronaldo didn't attend the teammate's funeral. I think Real Madrid will beat PSG in USA because Real Madrid has a lot of support in USA, and Chelsea will also beat the Brazilians again. Okay, let's wait and see. Good evening, guys. Manuel made a good point on our officiating officials for today, but my good friend Dennis Nyaku also have a divergent view. My question is, if Nyaku says referees are not at 80% in terms of performance, what percentage will he give them? Look, you don't want to hear. You don't want to know. I'm Eja Manso. Okay, Eja. All right, I'll do the last one. Doctor, please forgive me. Good evening. My name is Mickey, chatting from Bolga. In fact, I'm a Real Madrid supporter, but to call a spade, the final will be played by PSG and Chelsea. But the unfortunate thing is that Chelsea will concede 5 goals. That's our show, guys. Thank you very much for availing yourself for the show. Scorecard on Channel 1 TV. I am Bernard Abeko Nyaku and Kwachi Aso. Thank you.